Hey guys, Nuzzy here, today we're back from a YouTube video. Today we're going to be putting up the Weather Storm from Minecraft Story Mode up against Asriel Dreemurr from Undertale. If you enjoy this video, dislike and subscribe, or at least try to. YouTube's never moved them, you know, go figure. And yeah, there are multiple ways to scale the Weather Storm's power, but I'll bring up, most of the, or if not all of the different possibilities in the video. So yeah, let's just get right into it. As for strength attack potency, the weather has been stated a threat and was able to destroy the entire Minecraft world, which has been stated to be infinite on multiple occasions, therefore putting the weather storm around Universal to Universal Plus. As for Asriel, meanwhile, with just a fraction of his power, he was able to destroy and reset an entire timeline, also kind of putting him on the level of the Weather Storm. But unlike the Weather Storm, as I said, he only used a fraction of his power to do this, therefore meaning that Asriel Dreemurr is at least, way more likely to be more powerful than the Weather Storm, at least at full power. As for speed, the Weather Storm is bare minimal comparable to the Cannon Weather, which should be able to dodge arrows from a skeleton, which would move at fastest at around 200 miles per hour. Of course, you could possibly scale his speed to be infinite since, you could cross an infinite world. However, to say that, any character from Minecraft has infinite speed just simply because they can move in an infinite world doesn't really make that much sense. Asriel Dreemurr, meanwhile, was able to dodge attacks from Frisk with pretty much no difficulty. This is the same Frisk who is able to move fast enough to dodge sound, based attacks from a dog, which would travel at around 700 miles per hour, just a little bit over that though. And you could, highball them extremely higher, since you could say that Undyne was able to move across the underground almost instantly. And if you scale the entire underground to be as large as a mountain, since that is, how you enter the underground, and once you leave it, the mountain's in the distance, she would scale to at least massively hypersonic, or at least massively hypersonic rather. So that's probably an outlier going by that, but either way, Asriel Dreemurr would still be faster. As for durability, it is kind of hard to scale the Weather Storm's durability, seeing that they don't really have that many great durability feats. You could say that their attack potency scales to their durability, since their attack potency is powered by a command block, and that could also power their defense, but also a command block. Also cannot be destroyed by infinite amount of TNT exploding on it, so you could reasonably scale their durability to be around Universal to Universal Plus. For Asriel Dreemurr, meanwhile, his attack potency and durability are stated to be the same value, meaning that obviously his attack potency would scale to his durability, so just as Asriel at full power is more powerful than the Weather Storm, so too is he more durable than the Weather Storm. For abilities, weaponry, techniques, the Weather Storm has flight, telekinesis, matter manipulation, regeneration through the matter manipulation, minor death manipulation through the weather disease. If you're around the weather for long enough, you'll eventually become weaker and weaker. There's also memory manipulation. People who are absorbed by the Weather Storm often lose their memories. There's also duplication, fire manipulation, darkness manipulation, and body control. You could possibly, say that the Weather Storm has all the abilities of the command block, seeing that the command block, is giving it power, and, the whole reason why it has more abilities than the weather is due to the command block, and is generally made up of the command block. So, if this were the case, they would have reality manipulation, data manipulation, teleportation, time stop, time manipulation, law manipulation, magic, creation, BFR, matter manipulation, weather manipulation, summoning, statistics amplification, status inflictment, summoning, power bestowal, power nullification, void manipulation, gravity manipulation, perception manipulation, light manipulation, poison manipulation, sound manipulation, statistics reduction also. So, even if you give the Weather Storm all the abilities of the command block as it could possibly have, then it's pretty damn broken. However, the one argument against this is that the Weather Storm, was going to destroy the entire Minecraft world. If, they had all the abilities of the command block, they'd be able to do this pretty easily. Just making the entire world, only TNT or only air blocks and just setting the TNT off or something. It's pretty basic. They could have easily done that. But I'll bring up you know, if they have the access to all the command block's powers in the conclusion or not. As for Asriel Dreemurr, meanwhile, he has magic, he has the ability to hit ghosts, has the ability to damage and absorb souls. Also, if you scale him from a Mega Flurry, since he's much stronger and has many more souls inside of him, he should also have time manipulation, being able to create save states, and, you know, relocate save states also for his opponents. He also has very limited casualty, seeing that even when the timeline and universe is reset, he was able to retain his memories. Asriel should also have all the abilities of all the monsters and souls that he's absorbed. So if I bring up something that, you know, makes you kind of think, wait, Asriel can't really do that, he can, because obviously he absorbed the souls, and even if you don't think so, he definitely could if you know, go down the whole you know, saving route almost, where the, you know, like the sort of spirits or souls of the people who's absorbed into him come out and attack you. So yeah, here we go. He has plant manipulation, body control, has resistance to like soul and empathic manipulation, as, you know, Flurry lacked a soul. And he also has heat manipulation, seeing that he can survive in hotland. He also has extrasensory perception, as he can tell, you know, when the souls are moving within him. He also has information analysis, or reality warping. Information manipulation, as, you know, he can cause the save file to be corrupt. Energy projection, explosion manipulation. Life manipulation, creation, as a weapons master. Also, since he, you know, absorbs all of the monsters, like, you know, monsters and Undertale are made of magic, so they're kind of inorganic, if that makes sense. He can create weapons, has electricity manipulation, can fly, has air manipulation. He has energy manipulation, has status inflictment inducement, and also can paralyze people in place passively. He also has low regeneration also. Thread and animal manipulation, and homing attacks thanks to Muffet. He also has sound manipulation, statistics amplification, vibration manipulation, heat manipulation, water manipulation, duplication, mind manipulation, ice manipulation, earth manipulation, healing, telekinesis, and telepathy. So overall, you know, if you don't give the Witherstorm, you know, the access to all the command blocks abilities, then Asriel Dreemurr's easily more versatile. But even if you give him, you know, the command block, I'd still say Asriel Dreemurr's more versatile. For us better abilities, you know, Asriel Dreemurr definitely does with, you know, without the command blocks. Obviously, if you give the Witherstorm the command blocks, he would be more powerful, or at least have more powerful abilities than Asriel, in my opinion. So yeah, here's sort of like my own explanation for it in a sort of chart. As for weaknesses and the Witherstorm, like, if the command block is tampered with or deactivated, then the Witherstorm will, you know, die. There's also the fact that if you can match the command block in power, then you could possibly overpower the Witherstorm, or at least that's implied. So as for Asriel Dreemurr, he could eventually revert back into a child if he's like shown almost compassion in a way, almost like he's quite emotionally unstable, and after, you know, receiving, you know, the feelings that he gets after absorbing the souls, he will eventually, you know, lose the power that he has. But of course, to feel that, he would have to, you know, have kind of shown to him first. There's also the fact that he tends to toy with his enemies, like how he only used a fraction of his power against Frisk for the majority of the fight. So yeah, for who's more vulnerable, it's kind of hard to say, because both of them have this one weakness that's hard to take advantage of, but if you do, then you can easily win the fight. So I'm probably going to have to give it a draw here, to be honest. So as for the conclusion, we know that their like vulnerability, or like who's more vulnerable, is sort of a tie, but we also know that Asriel Dreemurr is more powerful, faster, more durable, more versatile, and has better abilities depending on if you give the Witherstorm, you know, command blocks or not. So looking at this, it would seem, you know, a pretty big stomp for Asriel Dreemurr. It would be a sort of close fight, at least when he's like holding back, because then they're equal in power and defense almost. But, you know, as soon as Asriel starts trying, it's sort of game over, especially considering he could attack the soul. Whether the Witherstorm has a soul or not is a little bit debatable, but if he does, then he's pretty screwed. But even then, you know, it takes something to be able to match the command block to even destroy it, let alone something that surpasses it. However, if you give Witherstorm, like the Witherstorm, the abilities of the command block, they could very well win, because, well, yeah, being able to create save states is overpowered. Being able to completely stop time and then, you know, kill them in stopped time is, you know, even more broken. So I'd probably argue the Wither Storm might have the edge if you give him the command block powers, because, you know, then like the speed isn't an issue. You know, Asriel Dreemurr can't move, and, you know, there's just so many different ways of killing him that way. But otherwise, Asriel Dreemurr pretty easily takes the win. If you enjoyed this video, dislike and subscribe, and yeah, I will see you in the next video.